Welcome to the making of Led Zeppelin 1, series finale. Just one thing before we go into the time machine. If this is your first time watching, let me do a quick recap. Episode 1 talks about the end of the Yardbirds and how the new Yardbirds found themselves in London. Episode 2 goes into the first Scandinavian tour. Episodes 3, 4, and 5 go into the recording of all the songs from their debut, as well as how the Atlantic Records deal went down. Episode 6 reveals the untold stories behind their live US debut in December 1968. Episode 7 takes on the band's first time at the Fillmore West, while Episode 8 covers January 13th through the 26th, Boston Tea Party included. Let's dive deep into Episode 9. So it's Monday, January 27th, 1969. Led Zeppelin enjoys a day off after playing 4 nights at Boston's Tea Party. The Lenox Hotel offered fine accommodations for them British rising stars. Led Zeppelin 1 was still a couple of weeks away from entering the Billboard charts, as Atlantic's distribution had yet to cover North America in full before monthly sales figures came in. Now, just 2 days before, back in England, George Harrison heard Led Zeppelin 1 for the first time, as per Glyn Johns' recommendation during the Get Back sessions. After all, Johns was director of engineering here. Word-of-mouth publicity on Jimmy's new band was spreading fast, even reaching the Beatles.
Fucked as well.
George, do you want to hear some of this Jimmy Page album?
Jimmy Page?
Yeah. Just produced an album with his new group.
Is he the one that was at the Yardbirds?
Yeah. John Paul Jones on bass.
John Paul
Jones on bass. You don't hear Jimmy Houston in the sessions? He's like the governor. He's very young, he's about 24. The governor bass player.
Oh, I think,
really good. And a kid called John Bonham on drums, who's
I think he was on a
catch him badly.
Nobody ever loved me like she did.
Next on Zeppelin's concert agenda was the Fillmore's counterpart in New York City. Its location is definitely foretelling in the Zeppelin world. So let's go to the Lower East Side of Manhattan and the famous Physical Graffiti building over at 96 and 98 St. Mark's Place. Just 2 blocks from there, one of the most important music venues of the late 60s stood in the ways of 105 2nd Avenue and East 6th Street, the Fillmore East. Nowadays almost a ghost town version of its former self, it used to be the place to rock and roll. Built in 1925, it was the home for 2 theaters until promoter Bill Graham took over management in early 1968. Its almost 3,000 ticket holder capacity made it a good place for business. Graham's policy had bands perform 2 shows on the same night, 8 p.m. and 11 p.m., which explains the staggering data for the venue in 1968 alone. 299 concerts, with names like Janis Joplin, The Doors, Richie Havens, The Who, Frank Zappa and the Mothers, Traffic, Iron Butterfly, Jefferson Airplane, Crazy World of Arthur Brown, Jimi Hendrix, The Byrds, Ravi Shankar, Moby Grape, Electric Flag, The Grateful Dead, the Jeff Beck Group, Led Zeppelin's Buddies, Vanilla Fudge. The list goes on and on. Everybody played there, while some bands had already recorded their performances by the time Zeppelin hit the stage. While released many years or decades later, it made Fillmore East a household name. The Fugs, Incredible String Band, Iron Butterfly, and Jefferson Airplane. One key feature at the venue was the Joshua Light Show, created by American artist Joshua White. His liquid light show was a mix of oil paintings, color wheels, and projection screens. These visuals further enhanced the music experience in tune with the psychedelic principles of the decade. The Fillmore East agenda came back on January 10th, 1969, with a long list of shows including multiple nights by Terry Reid, Buddy Rich, and Blood, Sweat and Tears plus opening band Jethro Tull. And below them, there was the lineup for January 31st and February 1st. Jimmy Page and the Yardbirds never played Fillmore East, so this was double the thrill for Page. Now, Led Zeppelin's Boston Tea Party success gave them negotiating power at the Fillmore. Bill Graham told Peter Grant they'd open for Iron Butterfly. Peter said, "No, we are not going to open." Ads running as early as January 17th had the move on the bill, but the band had actually booked themselves a UK tour instead and would play Fillmore West San Francisco in October with a new guitar and bass lineup. So Bill Graham had to pull a band out of thin air, and that prize went on to soul group Porter's Popular Preachers, who had released a couple of singles by 1969. And here's where the story gets sticky, troubled, let's say. When Iron Butterfly heard the name Led Zeppelin, They wanted them off the bill. The headliners didn't want to go right after Page, Plant, Jones, and Bonham. Now, did Iron Butterfly have negotiating power in 1969? You bet. Their second studio album was still riding high on the Billboard charts, and keep in mind In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida was released in June 1968 when Jimmy Page was playing his last ever US dates with the Yardbirds. This graph shows how In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida's chart decline started until February 1970, while hitting a peak number 4 position in August 1969. That's longevity in the charts. Their third album, Ball, was released on January 17th, the day Led Zeppelin began their 3-night run at Detroit's Grande Ballroom. While it would peak at number 3 midway through February, you can see it quickly lost momentum. We can't blame record buyers, as Ball, while retaining their trademark sound, seemed weakened by the pressure to match their 1968 hit single. The strange for hardcore fans only songwriting style mixed with thin production creates a negative snowball effect. Their studio material needed a producer like Paul Rothchild with The Doors, as Iron Butterfly's vocal style also ventured into theatric and intimate storytelling, or they could just hire producer Jimmy Page, who made Led Zeppelin 1 a sonic masterpiece. So just in case you forgot what Ball sounds like, here you go.
I listen to the clock beat as it ticks out down. Be yourself and never let home. The only time I hear your voice is on the line. In the search of the one that I feel is my life. And I think she might be my love.
Look, I love In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, one of the all-time great 60s anthems, all 17 minutes of it, but that's the problem with this band. Nothing else on their catalog sounds like that. The strange case of Iron Butterfly, not a one-hit wonder band, but kinda. But what about their live show stats? Well, a completely different story. They were a powerful live band that conquered North America many times over. Their musicianship really translated well on stage. 1968 saw them play 127 concerts in North America. Every venue, every size, every format. There was no stone left unturned, thanks to a talented management team of Charlie Green and Brian Stone. They played a key role in getting Buffalo Springfield signed to Atco, plus getting a $12,000 advance from Atlantic's own Amit Ertegun. It's all in the family, right? Iron Butterfly had their own sound. It was not heavy blues, but more like a psychedelia ritual. So Zeppelin kinda heard that vibe, where the Yardbirds were much better suited for a shared bill scenario. Of all the previous openers or bands that shared a bill with Led Zeppelin, Iron Butterfly was a big and popular contender. They were not Country Joe and the Fish, but a very successful group with a similar band name concept of combining heavy and lightweight elements. There was also the fact that they were assigned to one of Atlantic Records' sister labels, Atco Records. Nothing wrong with Atco, Vanilla Fudge and Cream were on it, but Atlantic was the main star, and Led Zeppelin their golden rock and roll child. So you can see where this is going. By January 31st, Iron Butterfly had done 8 shows, including 4 nights at Fillmore West, before going to the East. 1969 would be a troubled year for them. They demanded a helicopter to play Woodstock and got a famous FUCK telegram in response. Guitarist Eric Brand would go separate ways in December, and from there on, a domino effect into a full band breakup. Manager Peter Grant loved the January 1969 challenge. According to his book, he was convinced Zeppelin would topple the headliner. Quote, "I knew they could nail Iron Butterfly's arse well and truly into the ground." In the words of Michael Jordan, and then it became personal for me. Led Zeppelin played 2 sets on January 31st. Judging by the photographs, you can sense how their confidence stepped up a notch once again. The desire to prove critics wrong, coupled with the knowledge that Iron Butterfly didn't want them on the bill before their set, added one of the most valuable fuels for any musician: on-stage revenge. Beefs can be one of the best sources of inspiration and perspiration. Precious 8mm footage exists where you can see Page wearing his treasured leather jacket from the 1968 promo shots. along his favorite pink velvet pants. Jumbo Jones followed with a similar pattern type shirt. Robert Plant went for a black outfit matching Jimmy's onstage presence and violin bow spotlight. The interplay between them shows great chemistry and a determination to entertain the crowds through the power of music. We can see Bonzo's brand new maple drums, still carrying the good luck vibes from the Boston Tea Party. This band was a spectacle to witness. This footage also has a brief Eric Brand clip from his Iron Butterfly set. Reports state the crowd was left in a state of anticlimactic response past Led Zeppelin's performance. Iron Butterfly wasn't booed off stage, but spiritually, they were broken. Here's an audio summary of how the East was won.
John Bonham. Thanks so much.
February 1st, Jumble Jones switched to white colors in the style of future Earl's Court 1975 outfits. John Bonham followed with a white shirt for the second round at the Fillmore. Everything was ready, but Bill Graham faced some last-minute problems. Iron Butterfly took the high road and cancelled their second show. Edwin Hawkins' singers of Oh Happy Day hit single success were called in as replacement. Peter Grant could only smile. Iron Butterfly was defeated. It was Oh Happy Day, indeed. Later Fillmore East reviews, released in February 1969, were great, with words like superhuman and unbelievable. They said the band was all thunder, and their on-stage abilities, undeniable musicianship, even if they sometimes battled the obvious intensity of youth. One review had a Jumble Jones photo captioned Jimmy Page, and Robert Plant was praised for his vocals. Nobody could believe his range and ability. Same with John Bonham. One critic talked about Iron Butterfly doing note-for-note renditions of their material, but ended his piece by saying, quote, "They will always outdraw Led Zeppelin." Sure, buddy, that's exactly what happened.
Because we were all a bit stupid, we forgot the bass player's guitar. Right, would you believe that? Right, well, there you go, we forgot the bass player's guitar. So we're going to open up without the bass player. And we're going to feature Jimmy Page.
The band headed out north for their first ever show in Canada, Toronto's famous Rockpile. A former Masonic temple, it was turned into a rock venue in late 1968 with 15 performances September through December by the expected artist roster back then: Blood, Sweat and Tears, Procol Harum, the Jeff Beck Group, Iron Butterfly, and Deep Purple on December 22nd. The Rockpile was back in 1969 for Led Zeppelin's show Next. Local press reports ran since January 25th, letting fans know the band, quote, filled the vacuum left by Cream. Besides house band Marilu Horner, the Rockpile show had an opening act. American duo Teagarden and Van Winkle were 2 albums into their Atco Records career. Their follow-up, But Anyhow, was released in 1969. Concert reviews of Zeppelin's performance at the Rockpile were unanimous in saying they were not only becoming Led Zeppelin, but cream of crop. Only known photographs from this show have Jimmy wearing the same outfit from their Fillmore East gigs, leather jacket and pink velvet pants, with his Telecaster and Danelectro guitar combo. Now it seems the amp setup had some Fender Bandmaster of sorts, as opposed to the usual Rickenbacker selection. The band came back to the Rockpile in August. You can check my Canadian Woodstock episode for a fascinating story surrounding this venue in August 1969 and Peter Grant's beef with a local promoter. Led Zeppelin were expected to fly down to New York City again for a 4-night series of shows at Steve Paul's The Scene, located in close proximity to Atlantic Records at 301 West 46th Street. The Scene started hosting concerts in 1966, with just about every name in the business, thus becoming a prominent cultural hub, including regulars like Linda Eastman. The Doors played a 3-week run here in June 1967. The Scene was New York City's scene, Andy Warhol included. A famous March 7th, 1968 jam took place here with Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Buddy Miles, and house protege Johnny Winter. The club's owner, Steve Paul, managed Johnny Winter at the time and played a key role in getting him a Columbia record deal. By January 1969, there had been a historic 250 shows at The Scene. January through February artists on the bill included Mother Earth, Lee Michaels, British singer Terry Reid, Spirit, Van Morrison, and check this out, Led Zeppelin. This proved Peter Grant's point back in 1968 of removing the E from the British pronunciation of lead. Americans would be confused had they gone with L-E-A-D. So with The Scene closing its doors in July 1969, you may say Led Zeppelin arrived quite late at the party, but still, there was big hype around them. Check out this second print with Jimmy Page and, quote, England's most exciting new group. So what was this performance like? All 4 concert dates were cancelled. The reason? John Bonham's son, Jason, had a small accident and got stitches. His father flew back to England to check on him. So you're the hottest band in America, stealing everyone's thunder night after night, yet John Bonham put his family first, which speaks volumes of his principles in life. The first North American tour's MVP was above all a family man. To think a Led Zeppelin salaried employee like Bonzo was allowed to fly back home is unthinkable compared to other management styles at the time, which also speaks greatly of Peter Grant. This moment right here may seem small for some, but it sheds light into profound what-ifs, and also it further explains why John Bonham was the heart and prime energy source that kept the band going throughout their 12-year career.
You can take Salem out of the country, but you can't take the country out of Salem.
Super King Size Salem, the extra-length cigarette that takes your taste to the country, wherever you light up.
You can take Salem out of the country.
So Page planned Jones waited on Bonzo's return and took some days off February 3rd through the 6th. Cream's final studio album Goodbye was released on the 5th, while the Flying Burrito Brothers' debut went out the next day. Led Zeppelin headed out to Chicago for the first of many 1969 performances at Kinetic Playground, 8 times to be exact. Founded by producer Aaron Russo of Trading Places fame, it saw 81 shows in 1968, with now familiar names in our Zeppelin timeline. While business was good, it really thrived in 1969 with 244 concerts. January ended with Buddy Rich, Buddy Miles, and a 2-day run by the Grateful Dead. Led Zeppelin was next, playing right after opening band Jethro Tull, still promoting their This Was debut. Headliner for both nights was Vanilla Fudge, sharing the stage with Led Zeppelin for the first time since December 1968. Unlike Iron Butterfly, Vanilla Fudge had no problem with Led Zeppelin going before them. That's one confident band right there. They were definitely proud of how things turned out for Page, Plant, Jones, and Bonham, especially Carmine Appice, who saw Bonzo had a new drum kit. Vanilla Fudge had just released their 4th album, Near the Beginning. It was a reunion of sorts to catch up with friends, and also another day in the office, and first time in Chicago for Led Zeppelin to deliver an action-packed setlist. Now there's little photo evidence of their performance, yet there's a 1969 film by the name of Medium Cool that features both exterior and precious indoor footage of what Kinetic Playground looked like. The nightclub sequence here features a performance by Minnesota-based band The Litter, yet the music are excerpts from Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention's first 3 albums, including a personal favorite of mine, Who Needs the Peace Corps? This is what 1969 looked like, folks. A moment in history. Led Zeppelin headed down south to conclude their first American tour in sunny Miami weather, enjoying the beaches and accommodations for several days before taking the stage. It was sort of full circle for Peter Grant and Jimmy Page, who met Atlantic's Jerry Wexler here back in October 1968, and a record deal was agreed upon. The first of many Florida visits, Zeppelin was booked for 2 shows at an old bowling alley turned concert venue, the Image Club. The club had 68 shows in 1968, including Jimmy Page himself and the Yardbirds playing 3 nights in April, just before Cream took the stage on the 11th. 1969 had low-key 11 bookings, with Frank Zappa and the Mothers on February 8th and 9th, right before Zeppelin. I definitely recommend you checking out that bootleg recording. Now, the Image Club was used as backdrop for a strange but precious promo film shot on February 15th, where Zeppelin mimed to the sounds of Studio Communication Breakdown. This was used as a marketing piece for the Japanese market. Unlike most of their footage, the cameraman decided to focus on John Paul Jones for a solid 30-second run. This video captures what the band was all about. Black and white color, yes, but a vibrant spirit nevertheless. There was no stopping now.
You got the squeeze, brother, until the juice runs down the leg. And no matter how hard you squeeze it, I said, baby, I'm gonna leave you.
February 1969, Jefferson Airplane's live album at the Fillmore was released, next to Grande Ballroom's Heroes, MC5's Kick Out the Jams. The Bee Gees' criminally underrated Odessa was out, while Silver Apple's Contact got them a lawsuit from Pan Am Airlines, thanks to its back cover. February 15th was also a special date as Led Zeppelin 1 entered the Billboard 100 chart at number 99, rising to the number 12th position in less than a month. And so, Miami saw the conclusion of Led Zeppelin's 30-date North American tour, the first of many, happening through different time zones, venue sizes, weather conditions, and precious groupie support that fueled their next studio destination. But wait, there's more. Led Zeppelin had one more show left on their US tour, and this took place on February 16th, so they headed out north to Baltimore Civic Center. They once again shared the bill with Vanilla Fudge, plus a small showcase by the Paul Butterfield Blues Band, 4 albums into their career. Fifth one, Keep On Moving, would be released in October. The fourth band on the bill was British group The Gun, with a lineup of Louis Farrell and both Govitz brothers, Paul and Adrian. These names may be familiar as they teamed up in 1975 with Ginger Baker for their incredible The Baker-Govitz Army record. The Gun's 1968 debut had the very creative title of Gun, but the music, it's one hell of an album. Songs like Race with the Devil climbed up the UK singles chart, and seriously, the entire record is a forgotten treasure that inspired both Queen and Deep Purple in very specific places. Their second album, Gunsight, would hit stores in 1969. Zeppelin's performance at Baltimore Civic Center was only the second of 34 shows for 1969. They came back in 1970. This was the making of Led Zeppelin 1. Now, just before you go, I want to remind you that I will cover 1969 in full, so please stay tuned for future episodes, including the Scandinavian Return, in which I will dissect Led Zeppelin's historic comeback to the place that saw the New Yardbirds' live debut back in '68. They were now bigger, better, and stronger. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.